Shiro, his position finally seen, forced to move back here. David putting in that damage to AGAL, a quick reposition forward, and they are going to collapse. AGL cannot move forward.
What a beautiful rotation, man. That's perfection out of Thailand, perfection out of AGAL. But now, how do you deal with this chaos? Gun Dynasty have been pushed outside. They are at a disadvantage at this point of time. But when the circle starts closing on in, it's going to be trouble. Where will the zone move? Who does it favor? And Trap, what a nade. David taken out, but the time turner is active on their side. They didn't waste it earlier on, and that allows them to pick up their rusher instantly.
And it's really good.
One
you
more.
still cycling. Nice shot and a knockdown coming in from Cypher's skill. Great work coming through here. Loud still has the upper hand advantage in terms of positioning. AGL, HP chunking down. The damage comes through, and Loud, all they have to do is just rush forward, and they're completely surrounded from every single angle. And Loud, once again, a booyah!
Second booyah of the day for Brazil. And they are not messing around. Got pushed down a tad bit. The performance at Purgatory, not the best. At Solara, it was decent. But this is going to get them right back in contention for the #1 spot for sure. AGL definitely going to be in the race for the top 3 here after a back-to-back performance. We saw them pick up a massive number of eliminations off of Purgatory, and they have gotten in towards that final circle here at Nextera with the exact same performance. Great play, I have to say, from both teams.
You know what's really impressive about AGL? The fact that in the beginning of the game, they're all around the map. We come to them finally after seeing those initial fights. Something like, what? They already have 6 eliminations? Silent but deadly, but definitely loud toward the end as well. It felt like a bait and switch because GD was the one that had a compound, I would say, advantage in the beginning.
Yeah, and this was where it all came crumbling down for AGAL. They went in, they took the house as their defensive compound. What they were not expecting was the play out of Gun Dynasty. And the play out of Gun Dynasty wouldn't have been forced if it wasn't for Loud. Loud started tossing those grenades at them. Gun Dynasty had to make a decision, and the only decision they could make was take the fight up against AGAL. And they played that perfectly, rushing straight at them. And again, I've always mentioned how David 444 is one of the most lethal rushes out there. And he took the fight straight up against them with the Mag 7, demanding a lot of points in that house, and he got it for their side. But towards the end, it just wasn't enough. AGL stood their ground really well with the defense, but they had to lose 2 players in that sequence as well, and Loud with the advantage just walked away with it towards the end. It's not always about the most aggressive. Sometimes it's about who understands the final circle better.
Yeah, you have the eliminations. You have to find that I would say, balance, right?
Yeah.
Between getting to that last few points with those placements, plus also getting those eliminations as well. And AGL has, I would say, AGL, Loud, Buram United have really good, I would say, grasp on being able to do all of this coming into the game. I think what's really fun to see as well is just the fact that for AGL, they know how to do the bait and switch. They know how to go for zone control. But I have to say that for Loud just now, they were just doubling down on that real estate. They know that they had the height advantage. They know that they can just really kind of keep out GD from their area and force GD and AGL to go for that fight. And all they have to do is just clean up house.
Yeah, and it's been very impressive to see this Brazilian squad so far, because yes, it wasn't a very aggressive Purgatory game, but if you look at their positioning placement in all 4 games so far has been phenomenal. We're going to take a quick short break now. When we come back, the final 2 games of the day.
break out the drums because Brazil is showing up. 2 booyahs today for Loud, and my gosh, Neptune, this squad is consistent as heck.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, imagine 2 booyahs and 3 times on the top 3 out of 4 games. And this is just something that we don't expect to see, especially in day number 1 out of this kind of competition. Most of the time in this level of competition, there's a lot of stealing of those booyahs. There's a lot of stealing of those numbers as well in terms of elimination. So Loud is just doing quite well in positioning themselves and making sure that they are not out there being gunned down.
Yeah, and of course, Loud is so much better tactically when we compare to the other teams. They have the patience, they have the drive. Again, it's something so refreshing to see. But then again, it's a Brazil team. Are we even that surprised?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Brazil has been one of that contender that has been a bane when it comes to like a battle of Southeast Asia and Brazil and also other regions being introduced. And with the more regions in here being put in the mix, like they have that elements of surprise because the focus would be on the newcomers and they will be most of the target. And we were seeing that at the bottom of the leaderboard.
Yeah, we definitely were. I mean, I was going to be looking at the match standings right here. GD being able to put up some points as well. Out of all these squads, AG, how about that with those 27 points?
27 points, 18 elimination points, and I gotta hand it down to Do and Saifa. They're doing so well. This is exactly the teamwork that I actually wanted to see from EFOS Divine because as an Indonesian, of course, I do hope that they can learn from the best. And honestly, I think that game, it really showcased the ability of Do and the capability that he has to lead the team towards victory.
Honestly, I thought AGAL was going to take the booyah in that last match. Their positioning in the bottom of building, I thought, oh, surely they have this. Surely they've got this. But no, of course, you know, Loud's just sitting on top in the way that they were they're able to accelerate and take more of positioning in the zone. It was exceptional. And I know, Neptune, you got something to say about that, don't you? Like, yeah, let's get loud.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's more of what they can do in terms of the number. Again, getting a booyah will add up for your total points, but elimination is at some point at this stage of the competition is even more important because you have to bring that much to pull yourself at the top of the leaderboard, and booyah is something that is reserved for the team, especially with the champion rush condition towards the grand finals.
And I think looking at the overall standing, something that I'm really aware is that it is so scary for EFOS Divine in the very beginning of the competition. I mean, we started off really shaky, but looking at it now, we have 84 points and then 50 kills. That is not bad at all, even though we only have 1 booyah secured right now. I think what I said at the beginning of the show might come true. I don't want to jinx it. I don't want to keep repeating it, but I do think there's a huge chance for EFOS Divine to maintain this position and actually be, I don't know, the next one to go to the next stage.
And the one thing that we were talking about earlier is that sponge between those teams towards the top. And it's starting to get even more and more. Once we see the overall, you get a chance to see exactly what I'm talking about in regards to those teams at the top, just making an even bigger gap to some of the other squads. Now, one thing I know has been sticking out besides the top squads, right? We got to go to PDX. I mean, I was talking about earlier in regards to Tag. That's a squad that needed to be able to step it up. They have since then, since we've mentioned it. I know you were looking at PDX, Lace.
Yeah, see, I'm looking at Paradox, and look, they're not sitting pretty on the top of the leaderboard, okay? You know, we're talking about the Louds and the AGLs. I feel like there's 2 games going on at the moment. We've got like the AGLs, the Louds, EVOS, you know, kind of having their own scuffles in the top of the leaderboard. And when you move further down, the Tags, we got Paradox down there. I know Paradox had an accelerating run against Tag, but unfortunately fell like a little bit short in that match there. And it just seems like they're just not making the best decisions for their team. They managed to sort of get split. But where we were looking more into that final zone, Paradox, it was probably the first time I actually saw them group up and were able to put more eliminations on the board, and that's what we need to see from them. So I don't really know what's happening like in and amongst the early fights and stuff for them, but that was probably the best performance we have seen from them. But they are, you know, not being able to get those eliminations and those placement points on the board.
Yeah, I do agree. I mean, the first few games, they're not that aggressive, and the signature of Paradox Gaming is that the signature of Paradox Gaming coming from their regionals is that aggressive team. Like from Africa Africa. They managed to clutch it towards the end and getting that qualifier on the EWC, and it's more of the elimination. So this is one thing that we were expecting at get-go. There's a lot of teams who want to show up strong, especially if they are new to this contention.
Yep.
But for Paradox Gaming, they need that time to recover. But what I'm worried about is if that time is running out, because again, that's already 4 games.